I'm Daytona Everett. You're watching News Now from Fox. I'm joined here with Dr. Chin-Hong, an infectious disease specialist coming out of UCSF in California. Doctor, thanks for joining us.
Thanks for having me on, Daytona.
So we've talked briefly about vaccines. There have been a lot of progression forward this week, specifically coming from Pfizer. Can you break down exactly what's going on?
Yeah, so I think the big headline is that the Pfizer phase 3 clinical trial interim data look showed that there was more than a 90% efficacy in preventing COVID-19 in individuals who got the vaccine versus those who got the placebo.
So they're saying it's 90% effective. How effective is that? It's still not 100%. There's still that 10%. So how realistic is it that we're going to see this vaccine soon?
So to put this in perspective, it's actually great news because the bar for COVID-19 FDA sort of like guidance was 50% efficacy. So 90% is like you studied for the test, you didn't get a C and just passed, you actually got an A+. So I think it is good news. And to put it in perspective again, too, the flu vaccine is only between 40 to 60% efficacious. So 90% and above, super good.
For people out there who are nervous about getting vaccines, what is your word to them?
So my word is that our FDA currently it has put in a lot of safety guardrails about this vaccine and vaccine development around COVID in general. For example, they want at least 2 months of people observation of people who've gotten the vaccine before even giving the paperwork to the FDA for emergency use authorization. Additionally, they want at least 2 years of active observation of these first 40,000 folks or so from this particular trial who've gotten the vaccine. And that's true for every other trial. The other issues for folks to know about is that these are not live viruses. There are some vaccines that are live or live attenuated or killed. This has nothing to do with that. These are just little bits of protein on the surface of the virus that our body will react to, make antibodies. So when the real deal thing comes along, you neutralize it in its steps.
So realistically, how soon could we be seeing this vaccine on the market and people able to take it?
So I would say they would probably submit the paperwork after Thanksgiving. Probably wouldn't see it for the first phase of healthcare workers, maybe January. Probably for the general population, summer or fall of 2021. So not tomorrow, unfortunately. But definitely on the horizon. The additional information is that this is just the first of several vaccine trials that will probably come in the market. So the additional vaccine companies and candidates would add additional doses to the Pfizer product. So it may be sooner than fall if everybody gets their data ready and shows promising results.
And let's talk realistically about distribution. This vaccine has to be kept in certain temperatures. It's going to be somewhat difficult to kind of regulate across the board for all of the states. So what do you see as being the distribution method from state to state?
So currently it's left up to the state to take care of its own affairs, but I'm hoping that with the new administration starting in January, that there will be a national strategy and a national distribution plan, because again, the sum of the parts of the US is better than the individual states in this perspective, because this is a national issue. The virus doesn't care what state you live in. But currently as it stands, you're right, Daytona, they have to be super cold freezers, like -80. And to put that in perspective, our freezer at home is like -4. So you're talking about ultra cold temperatures that our Walgreens or CVS won't have. Additionally, you need to have enough syringes, dry ice for when you take the vaccine out, and most importantly, an information system that will keep track of Californians. So like if you were in San Francisco, you got the vaccine, but you're visiting your family in LA and you decided to stay there a little bit longer, some system has to track where you are to know when you should get the vaccine and keep track of that.
So you're actually out in California, and Governor Newsom this week has spoken about how California will be on the front lines of distributing this vaccine. What have you heard on your end from doctors out there? Do you think California is going to be that first state that really steps forward with this?
I think California is ready. We have a very large population. So far, we have a very good network of communication. So if there's going to be a test state for the rollout of the vaccine, it's got to be California. Of course, I'm biased. I feel really lucky to be here during COVID. But again, I'm hoping that we'll be one of the exemplar states that can show how distribution of a complex cold chain can work.
Now, not only are you in California, but you're also at UCSF. And funny enough, this new coronavirus task force that Joe Biden has rolled out includes a few of your colleagues. Can you speak to that?
Yeah, so 3 of my UCSF colleagues are on the task force. I feel really privileged to be at that institution and to know them to some degree. David Kessler was one of our former deans of the School of Medicine. He's a pediatrician. He was a former commissioner of the FDA, so he knows both governmental and on the ground taking care of the patients, as well as policy. Eric Gooseby was one of the architects or helped move HIV medicines to the rest of the world, particularly in Africa. So he has that global look as well as on the ground experience. And Robert Rodriguez, emergency room physician, whose work has really been around disparities and making sure everyone has access, regardless of who you are. So again, speaking to the breadth of experience from taking care of patients to minority populations to a global overlook, I think not just the UCSF folks, but the panel in general is very balanced. Men, women, lots of race, ethnicity, variation, and diversity that makes me feel very happy.
Well, your outlook for 2021 as far as the pandemic goes, what would you say? What would you describe that year as?
Cautious optimism. A lot of cases right now in the country. California is ticking up. Southern California, in particular, in the north, Santa Clara County. So I think, I'm worried that the cat is already out of the bag, but guarded optimism. I feel like we can at least prevent additional deaths in the country with a national strategy and an alignment of science with politics.
All right. As always, thank you, Dr. Chin-Hong out there in California. We appreciate you.
Thanks so much, Daytona.